SC. So there is another dimension. Yenu ba Patricia Asidwa Nidia ni papi di ni mo no friend no Agradaa. Yenu ni masema eto no last week Thursday Accra Circuit Court sentenced him to 15 years in prison. Ayare hosem iye. Yenu ano court ka say the sentence no it comes with hard labor into onko in some female prison. Na onko share sa akwanto yase. Yena mo ka say your checks chere say oni and some female prison. Inti yenu aba no ena wafa. Rudolph, me ji disenya me adom. As if who name say crime check your new officer ye wono. Ufri ha ko yenu aba Agradaa afia. It's just about a minute's walk.
Yeah.
Na wadu inti mprepi no utwembia ye ho no. Okoba nyina ye ho no. Yene no ene wo area ha. Eno nti na asema ato no no ha yen. De nti esa ha ye biem se oyo bi nso a or respecting papa ohu the way I obebu ni mu ase achiawo. We share me mpre bebre. Oh yase ha ebi ha na oba better provisions or my late wife shop ho. Ebi on so a shop bi eto so oba be ye any nails. Utimi ho say oyo bi contrary to the way people project her as very violent no many ade no. When you know that personally you know who say she may not be the person people project say oh yeah no. And I'm sure say once we want to be brave around. I said no but two things just as I said in the intro. Only and some female prison. And secondly we will look at whether sentence na demand and whether it was excessive or outrageous. It been combine the two adjectives. Maybe say it was excessive, maybe say it was outrageous. Say buffet too much for the crimes she committed. Advertising charlatanic is a materials or something, and a defrauding by false pretenses. Actually, I call a lawyer George Shaw. Okay. Na yakwa interpretation as to whether the sentence was too much. But let's come back to you, Rudolph. Yes, sister, no, we need someone female prison. I'm say we share commentary on social media. It is alleged okoye no obi a okodupo no allegedly or prison hono. One na koye ntokwa and nipa na abro no. Ama yenu aba no kwa nanim aso. Find that message a bit troubling. Say meti every mona one lady one friend is a mona Gucci also the way you paint a picture no. I was wondering say Ubia aka the 6 months. O painting picture perfectly. Na we PF free prison. Na we hu Agradaa allegedly a defraud no. Na 6 months pena will be P no they akoye ntokwa. It comes with consequences and I'm not sure say any right thinking person would want to do that. Na me wan kakra. If say na me checks. Say last week before say be convicted your call crime check and kokon project e person e boa. And some female for na wouldn't say a prison penny for minimum it didn't come out. And this is a huge figure coming into the prison. Yes, you're contemplating say we may have to perhaps visit her, obviously. And chichire the rekakra. And easy, you know, and I think say psychologically when he may have been admitted into the prison, your officers are mere mandated. Say, if you look at the weight of the sentence, officers no bad advice so na what to expect whilst coming into the prison. Every video it tells us what you will be taken through, especially when the sentence is huge. And yes, I want to na urema wakonom edro every video ni
crime in itself as a disease. So we try to one, accustom the person to the prison, welcome you to the prison, tell you what you should expect in there, and then we'll try to guide you. It's like a guidance center. So we guide you, then we counsel you, so that at least you'll be able to cushion whatever you're going to expect in there. Somebody's coming for 30 years. And what do we expect? So we need to let the person go through that customized system, so that the person, when he goes there, he can be well prepared for the journey ahead.
It will have video, yeah. It should tell you about the gravity of the psychological torture that you are going to be predisposed to.
Exactly.
It be sister, or kwakush, especially when you live in flamboyance, in opulence. You have everything virtually. And then within a twinkle of an eye, you are being pushed into, your friend is saying, a deplorable space. Baby, a time, baby, a homete, you know, a idea, a hygiene, a idea, a hygiene. But I think that within someone female cramp there, how is more of a home because inmate population, or adults 100. Obeka is a many banana mama brand birthday, and I've visited that facility over 100 times. Into a honor, Yanka say prison crowd who say a prison, you know. But I think that the about prison here, it's not much as we talk about physical problems, infrastructure, but be any part that how you difficult. That is not the only aspect of imprisonment. The real aspects of pain. A lot of scholars are true about your scholars be on true book be titled The Pains of Imprisonment. Pain, they are so psychological. A business and an Agradaa won't be here. The videos are all sounds dress camera. My energy be now all of a sudden you've been pushed into a space. Let's forget about say how time. Say home put to say hotel. The confines, the walls, the tall walls. We video here. And na die gugu so. Na wa we na Agradaa wo de wo. Na ene ye chill time ada 4:30. It's a soda area. Wait, oh God. And no that torture. And no enema imprisonment. Yeah. And you're not better than
I mean, leaving businesses behind. Unkwala. So
Absolutely.
About 5 years, we John Hawk prison,
Enema prison. Yeah. Intimate check stress. Uniho. Intasama. What's your friend saying?
Monaguchi.
I think that's a figment of our own imagination. And I think we should do better as journalists. The media should do better. Propagating false information, I don't think is right.
Yes,
I don't think it's right.
And in prison, so there are rules and regulations binding even the prisoners there and even the officers. It is a officer or in charge of Agradaa, and I say or in charge of the other personnel, or sortie Agradaa. It means the officer no one need to make.
Mona.
Okay.
Agradaa could do prison no. Wakwakoto obi wo ho a oscam no with sikagari. And now apparently the person was also sentenced to prison because obi man sika so fanya de no di sika ne bre na Agradaa so onye sikagari ma no. And then nsanka sika ne biom. And then nipa no so che no and then court and he sentence or no. But according to what we heard allegedly akasesman na maame no so you know na maame no ehu Agradaa no say you are the reason why I'm here. Now, according to Nipakura or the Assembly to TikTok app, no so boy sister no boy Agradaa no. Wabunama with 2 gold teeth na shano.
But just as I said, my checks indicate say you know about yeah sentencing on Thursday. There are a lot of administrative procedures. Court no. Unfortunately, Friday was a holiday. She couldn't have been taken to prison because administrative procedures no way won't mean for There's a so many warrants and you know that kind of thing. It's a bit bureaucratic. And Friday was a holiday. Into probably and now I'm sure say a year no omode ne beko na yenso ye de ani akohu say ampa wababedu. Into for now no I would say all these speculative stories about obi akwa assault in prison no should be dismissed with a vicious wave of the left hand. And we shouldn't entertain such things. Because there's other outlets and so pick it. It paints a different picture about
the prison officer and system.
It paints a picture of lack of security. It paints a picture of another Agradaa in a warlike fashion. It paints a picture of indiscipline in the prisons. But here in England, it's one female, one of the disciplined institutions. It hardly happens. We can confirm our sister is not yet
in prison.
And then someone female prison. What can be it?
Means that they say Agradaa what confirmation which means Agradaa and share officially the sentence na say.
No.
Yes. Until say the coin there now officially what shall say.
Absolutely.
Yes. Until Nya Crawford Castle wakodu on a bono ne side no force.
Now let's look at the sentence. It be say excessive. It be say outrageous. There's a lot of commentary on the matter. Young lawyer George Shaw, Menene Kopi or City TV, Mra Ataya accomplice court a discharged for lack of evidence. Inti watching as to whether the sentence was excessive or not. For young Kuti. Hello, lawyer.
Hello.
Good morning. It is saying.
Oh.
A lot of people are saying the sentence is excessive. Even it is outrageous because 15 years for the crimes she committed. Do you think too much?
It's too much. It's too much.
Lawyer, I didn't think too much.
I mean, first of all, she's a first offender.
She's not a first-time offender. I think it's about 2-3 years ago. She was convicted to a fine. So she's not a first-time offender. So with this information, what do you have to say about the conviction?
Friends, the defrauding now. The sentence is within the range, the acceptable range. Now, I think I don't know what might have gone into it in terms of, because there are things like aggravating factors. When they are sentencing. It's because if they use that at tangent, then it will not be excessive because your friend is saying there's something called breach of trust, which the law takes very seriously. For people in responsible positions like pastors, teachers, and which people have their trust in for a whole lot of reasons, and in this case because of faith and religion now. If you have that opportunity and then you abuse it, the court can aggravate the sentence, that is, give you more than what an ordinary person will receive.
So are we talking about discretion in this case? But just a quick one. Mami ready?
Yes, discretion. Well, in a way, discretion, but more or less mandatory, because if you are a breach of trust, me no committee the same offense. Now me position of trust, you better more than you.
Isn't this a bit problematic in the sense as we are trying to sort of rate others above others? That is why I'm asking. Is it a matter? Is it an issue of discretion? Because it is also believed some judges abuse their power of discretion.
I know it happens all the time. Because it's a discretionary power all across board. Every day is being different and abused. But as long as you can point factors as to why the discretion has been abused, no, and all will entertain it because there are a lot of areas. But in terms of breach of trust, I know a global practice. Say I say Akwala, everything will back to school. Now teacher, I have sex with the child. Most of the time, because of positions of authority, teacher make her through. On person or now.
Right. Let's look at two things. Let's look at two things. Others think the media may have tried Agradaa even before her conviction. The perception of negativity associated with the things that she does. Oh, mommy, what to say, mommy, or Jim Crofusika, mommy, where, you know, and some people who are factual, and some people who cannot be established. But the media had long tried her. Do you think that, these perceptions may have gone into her sentencing?
Definitely. I wouldn't say because the guy will tell you that he or she is not influenced by outside influences like the press. But I can tell you for a fact, from my own experience of the criminal justice system in Ghana, since I'm here with you, the press, they try in the media. A personal case that some years back, which is something about Major Mahama and then the assemblyman was convicted merely because the jury believed what the press was saying about him, even though the evidence was contrary to it, which I've appealed that is coming on that day. Yes, in England, in places like that, England say, try with me, stop put trial. If you can prove that the person has been tried in the media.
Absolutely, that's fine. Let's look at another angle. Another substantive issue: defrauding by false pretenses. We know, sir. I'm not a lawyer, but we know, sir. Spiritual matters, you can't prove them in court. Now, Nana Agradaa has made her intentions clear. Also, a software, she sees beyond, what we see. She sees beyond the cosmos, for want of a better expression. And I will say, obetimi adobuska spiritually, because our powers obetimi aye sadeno. And I say, what they say ba faketu abejekese, whatever it is. She didn't force anyone.
Right.
So I say, so the power of choice, rested with one more or more atiasemono. You can decide to go or not to go. This is completely different from say ubi elkoso in a way. Say chinchina, because in Krofoko, sorry, more can say is it offertory or whatever you call it. Omo bar for it. Because ubu had the software can touchina no yisika. This is purely spiritual or an interconnection between the spiritual and the physical. And no one dictates what one should do. And if you are taxed, you dole out the money. I want you to look at this within the context of what has happened to Agradaa, a pastor.
Except that my carrying is correct. Except that defrauding by false pretenses, one of the main determining factors is that you state something that you know is false. So my baba wanna say, a friend say, woman say I'm the way better.
Okay.
But me no meaning say me boy me need na me my. And so my what JD. It will depend. It's very very in the spiritual sense, it's very difficult. In ordinary sense, for us to be but for we blame and I met up blah blah. I know it's easy to convince.
Okay. But
anybody also for not spiritual one. Agradaa only a good lawyer can fight say, no, what she stated that she was going to do, she believed in it, and it wasn't a lie.
So you think the lawyer may not have helped her, and that she could have, your friend is saying, she could have skipped this unfortunate Asema Atuna in Jenakowie prison. Was it possible for her to have skipped this if she had a good lawyer?
If it had been argued forcefully that she's also when she really believed, she wasn't lying that when she said she was going, she believed that she can double the money.
Though you and I know that it's difficult to double the money.
Yes, but it's a question of then, as the law says, if you are going by the sheer elements of the law, you see, when someone gives you a fact, when the person know at the time of making that statement that what he or she was saying was false. That is why it becomes different.
Right. Let's look at another issue. My checks at the someone female prison. Agradaa was sentenced on Thursday, last week Thursday. My checks at someone female, as we speak, is that she is not yet in custody at the someone female prison. Could it be, sir? She was sent, just as I said, she was sentenced on Thursday. And there are definitely, when you are sentenced, there are administrative things, certain administrative that ought to be done. Friday was a holiday. Could these be the reasons why she's not yet in custody at the someone female prison?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe don't want to process documents quickly enough. Addiction tonight is Friday. Saturdays will be a Sundays will be a it's in there and
right. Lawyer, I would want to thank you very much. You are saying for lawyer George Shaw, and Ekasai George Shaw, a lawyer, a Atayi, a case partner, saying court establishes a far chrono and normal basabasa see ye jailing, I think over 20 years or so. Court a jano or no, and I'm also and Atayi accomplice and when you know home atite. Na MC na yakuti explanation or the my about one, Agradaa not in custody, and two, whether her sentence was outrageous or not. After listening to the lawyer, I'm say we're making things clear. As if it is within the law, the sentence was within the law, it's fine. But he feels as discretionary power was over exercised. And 15 years may be too much. Your take on that?
Well, from Ononoka about law as a lawyer, he's speaking like that. But we should also think about Nkrofua near Nkrofua fa emu ewa Agradaa nsem. So be the go that corner. Well, omoneka so then go to koya am Agradaa koje, and those things will be aton nebusi and Japade and Odiako. So ABI, it could be greed, but they are court.
Yeah, but I think that matter is not in court. Asema a court. And I'm sorry, I'm jailing you about 15 years. I say me see one in church hall, and no, and not only the court. But as to where that's why Joe be good and that's why Joe be good, we don't know. It is being alleged, and as a media organization, Kasa, we have to be very circumspect. That is why you have to pre-modify most of the things you say with allegedly and so on and so forth. Said about Ochanko being court because you will never know. I think in this country, speaking loosely, once someone says something, we quickly jump on the bandwagon. Now, without a recourse to the facts. Entire idea as to and some ICCC in Mami Agradaa absence. I think we were told there was some sort of disturbances so the fear Ninu tries all the local the fear Ninu out to disprove those allegations. We hope whatever she may be going through some Funsubin wire or call or status are control maybe not waiting assessor and as a waiting as a class or Funso be a nipper be a home Funso. And we pray so back out strongly. I believe she will come out strongly. I believe maybe nyame suman wo ho for a reason. I'm wakusua de kakra. Na opia enipa enya no homfa so. There are a lot of people who were condemned in the Bible as never do wells. But eventually God showed mercy on them. Nti aya na obi asem na abane ɛna obi ani agye onso wonim da wo de beba enti no much as we are not condoning wrongdoing, we are not. We should also know, say, any PBI phone so. That is why we say the prison is everybody's potential second home. BBI bit me do alcohol. But upie ba ahona 7 wo. Many young men upie ba they reoffend. Almost uncle de boni. We have their local prison. I say it all the time. About 35% of the prison population more makwaba. Because a come do into you know, if you stigma your pointy and sour also. But I don't think that will happen in the case of Nana Agradaa. We train any fee. I don't want us to put the cameras on her house. You know, it's for purposes of privacy. Into no koba and Nana Agradaa you will be offering idea. So if you prisoner, but you know, or the stigma be better in the you know. There's some issue where there are 10 issues now around. And I hope, sir, just as I said, you know, whatever happens, you know, the prison is a learning center. You have say proper reformation and rehabilitation centers and proper correctional facilities are. Government should retool and re-equip the prison so that when people come in, they can learn and come out as better individuals. And yes, it will be economy. You're jailing, and you know, you're sentencing it to imprisonment. Obeko prison, no one more. It defeats the purpose of reformation and rehabilitation. To be, you hope to say, you know about almost so I believe say why you born. I think say almost come better me, but they will think say they will also believe that justice has been served, and that is the essence of criminal justice. When you are hurt, you have the channel. Not the ones who come or no so in question baby, no but outer society. Enya ne ho emfaso. Your final words?
Yes, I'm say there is another EBA and for speculation being around say Nana Agradaa is going to serve only 5 years in prison, which means man 15 years, you know, and each count here 5 years, which adds to up to the 15 years. But according to reports I reading, Nana Agradaa was charged. The charges here too about charlatanic advertisement, and the other one is defrauding by false pretenses. So for the advertisement, you know, you impose 25 penalty units on her,
which is
300 Ghana cedis, and in default of payment, you know, or best 30 days imprisonment. Now on the second, I know they will be to meet you 300 cedis until I know they year free. But on the second charge, you know, defrauding by false pretenses, you know, and there are 2 counts of that. There are 2 counts of the defrauding by false pretenses, and she was sentenced to 15 years imprisonment on each count of the defrauding by false pretenses, which is to run concurrently.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Once it runs concurrently, it doesn't mean it's 15 or 30.
30, yes.
It's misplaced. Yes, so in order not to even waste time on that, you know, 15 years.
Yeah, come on, in 5 years.
But you know, say, on 15 years, you know, in prison, you know, 15 years, you know, just about 11 years. Yeah. Ultimately, appeal, considerably based on the merits of the appeal. Yeah. And I understand the lawyers say mobile appeal. So let's see how it goes. Tete for her. Na yedi ejumedi ebesi on Nana Agradaa yenu aba yenenete ahase enne asemiya ya atono. We wish her well.